Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 12, episode number 12 for Sunday the 26th of March 2023. This Blake 7 teleporter thing works apparently. Hello and welcome to the show. It is indeed Sunday the 26th of March and welcome to another Andy Shed Live. Beamed in, literally, live to you from our base here in fairly daylight Derbyshire. Actually today it makes a nice change, doesn't it, to be in the daylight, and when we're doing stuff, it's rather good. And this week we've got all sorts happening for you, absolutely all sorts. But before we go any further, better do a bit of housekeeping and remind you that we do have the website, of course, which is here. It's andyshed.corepress.net is the old website, and if you want to go on the forum, which we've also got, it's here, gpotelephones.proboards.com, and that is the website for you. And here we are with all the chat and everything enabled. And if you were watching last week, you'll know all about this here. Oh, is it up there? Or is it up there? It's up there. That is the phone number. If you're on CNET, ring that number and you can call in live to the show. It worked last week when Michael T did it. If it works this week, it'll be a miracle. 2 weeks on running. So we will find out if that works in just a moment or so. Now you can see the chat there at the minute. I can't see it, so just bear with me, I say, because I've got to try and find the chat. Just a second. So hopefully I can get hold of it in just a minute. Somewhere. Where are we? We are there, and if I go pop out chat on that and get rid of that. Right, there's my chat. Right, so now I can see what you can see down there. And if you're watching, of course, live on YouTube, then feel free to participate in the chat. So who have we got here tonight? We've got Peter Blackburn's here, Penfold's here, Christopher 2000's here. Who else is here? Oh, Wesley's here as well. So quite a few people there tonight. So as I say, it is open. If anybody wants to ring into the show, the number to call is up there. It's 024687201. This only works through CNET though, or through the CNET gateway. So it's 024687201, or if you're hosted on the CNET server that is sat here, like I know one or two of you are, then you can just dial 201. You should be able to, and it should put you through. Right, so hang on now, I've got to press the right button now. I'm just seeing what everybody's been up to in the chat. Peter says the two pre-show adverts that he got on the stream today were how to send money back home which it seems was thought to be Asia somewhere, and another one for hair care. Who knows what adverts they run pre-show. YouTube moves in very mysterious ways. Penfold says, hello from up over to down under. What? Where are you, Penfold? Oh, somebody is ringing us. Who is it? Let's have a look. Hang on a minute. Right, I've got to get this right now. I think this is Christopher. Let's see if I can pick it up. Hello, Christopher. Can you hear us? No, oh no, you can't hear us yet. Hang on. Hello, Christopher. Are you there?
Hi, Andy. I'm doing a call from the Melbourne Metropolitan Tram Board office in South Melbourne.
You're where?
In the old Metropolitan Tram Board office in South Melbourne.
The Metropolitan Tram Board officers?
Yes, where the radio transmitters are.
Ah, right. What on earth are you doing in there?
I'm testing my old Metropolitan Tram Board radios. I've got one refurbishing.
Ah, right. Are they like VHF radios or something?
No, the ones that pick up the tram to depot and base radios.
Oh, right, so two-way radios.
Yes.
Right, I see. So I didn't know you were what we would call a radio ham. Do you call them radio hams over there?
Yes, that's what we call them over here. Yes.
Ah, excellent. So you're testing. So have you got somebody on the other end testing as well?
No, just to see if it picks up the trams only, not to transmit on the tram radio.
Oh right. So they still use the same system, and you're just trying to listen in to it, sort of thing.
Yes, it works on my modern radio, but I'm trying to get to work on my older one.
Right, I see. I didn't realise trams had radios on them.
Yeah, the trams over here do.
I would have thought that was difficult, because I would have thought there might be potentially a lot of interference issues with all the
That's what does happen on the tram where you get interference. They have to shut down the tram radio and rebuild the system and get it working again.
Right, I see. Have you still got a mix of trams over there? A mix of old ones and new ones?
Yeah, we have the Z3, A1, A2, B2, W8, D1, D2, C1, C2, and the E1 and E2. What's the modern trams?
Yeah, the W's are the oldest ones, I think, aren't they?
Yes.
They're the ones that are in the film Malcolm, if anybody's seen the film Malcolm.
Yeah.
Which I highly recommend, it's a brilliant film.
I also picked up an old railway handset as well from the railway carriage we use over here as well.
Oh, right.
They were refurbishing the carriage. I was able to grab one of the old handsets that was pulled out of the carriages, and I'm going to try and get it to work.
I see. So
it's got the push-to-talk button. The way it's set up, it doesn't have any, what do you call the thing, you hear the sound for the receiver. It doesn't have a receiver in it.
Right, so it's just the shell of the handset.
It does have the microphone and push-to-talk. It doesn't have a receiver capsule inside.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, I suppose you wouldn't have needed one, would you? Because is it just like a PA system for the carriage, where somebody stands at the end of the carriage and...
That's right.
Yeah, so I don't suppose you would, because you'd never be listening to anything on it, would you? You'd only be...
Yeah, and it's one of the old Western Electric style handsets as well.
Is it? Hang on. Is it one of these?
I'll have it. I've got to wait for the stream to catch up. Hang on.
Oh yeah. Sorry. You've got to wait for it to catch up, haven't you? Because I'm about possibly 30 seconds.
Yeah, like one what you've got, but it's got the a big push to talk button in the centre of the handset.
Right. Ah, that's interesting. I was having a conversation. Who was I talking to about this? Oh, it was the man from Brickphone. I was talking to about this earlier this week, and apparently there's a British handset. I don't know if you said it was the handsets off an ambassador phone, a British ambassador, that are actually used by London Underground in their tube train carriages, because he had a load of these handsets and he was contacted by London Transport and say, how many of these have you got? Because he put one on eBay and they said, how many of these have you got? Because we need them, because our drivers keep breaking them in the cab of the tube trains.
Another big change to this handset is, know how where the push-to-talk button is in the centre of the handset? It actually comes apart in the middle of the handset as well. So when you take the caps off, the whole middle of the handset comes out as well.
All right. So is there something other than the caps that comes apart then?
Yeah, so the caps come off and then the bottom part of the handset comes apart where they push the talk button is in the centre.
Right, so is a push the talk button on the inside?
Yes.
Of it? Right. Interesting. I've not taken this one fully apart yet. I'm just... Yeah, there's nothing else that would come apart on this.
But it's not. It has a
solid.
funny type of connector as well. Where it has plugs into a funny type of 4-pin jack as well.
Right.
But not like the Western Electric one. A different type of jack.
It's not one of those by any chance, is it? When your stream catches up.
No.
There's a strange thing going on about these. I mentioned these last week. I don't know if you saw the stream last week, but we were talking about these last week.
Not those jacks. It's like a round jack, but inside the cover there's 4 metal pins what goes into some type of connector.
I don't know what that is.
I'm going to go down to the local electronics store today about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, see if they actually got the modern type of jack this plugs into, so I don't have to modify the wiring to the handset.
Yeah. See if you can find the right plug. Well, that's interesting. That I'm trying to put this one back together now while I'm talking to you.
Yeah. This is my first telephone I've got for about 2 months now. I haven't bought a telephone recently.
No, I've not bought many. There's not been many out there to buy, to be
there was an unusual
you.
telephone on eBay I saw the other. It was like a British trim phone. What was supplied by Telephone Rentals.
Right. Oh yes, you sent me an email about this, didn't you?
I bidded on that one, but I got outbidded by someone on the thing at the last moment, and I lost the phone, so I didn't get that phone.
Right, I've since found the answer, because I think I posed the question of are trim phones always made by STC? Means it's an STC designed, STC invented them. It turns out not. They were made by anybody. Although STC invented them, other people did make them. Plessy and all sorts of people made them.
This one was made by Plessy or anything, because it had the GPO style numbering on the base. I think someone just bodged that label into the phone, if you ask me.
They could have, but just because it's got the GPO style number on the base doesn't mean, I'm just putting this thing down, doesn't mean the GPO ever had it. Because if you imagine it being sat on the production line,
yes,
at whatever company made it, whether it be Plessy or Ericsson or wherever, there's a big production line, and there's somebody sat there stamping on with GPO 722. You know, either somebody doing it or a machine doing it, and a big production line.
Yep.
Then a man comes in. He says, I've got an order for 100 trim phones to go in this factory that Telephone Rentals need.
Yes.
But we've only got 90 in stock.
Yes.
And somebody says to him, go and pinch 10 off that production line down there. And so he just grabs 10 more trim phones off there. They make an extra 10 for the GPO. But those 10 that he's nabbed have got GPO written on the bottom of them.
Yes.
Even though they've never ended up with the GPO. And I think that happened quite a lot. It may be that they printed GPO 722 on the bottom of them.
Yes.
Before they were even assembled.
Yeah.
Because some of them it's not printed on the bottom, is it, on trim foam? Some of them it's actually like stamped into them, like with a hot stamp or something. You know, it's like melted into the plastic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Was on that one and on eBay it had the exact same. He just mentioned it was molded into the coat, into the base of the phone.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to say whether it was telephone rentals or not. But
Yeah.
I tend to say I think it probably was.
Yeah.
I'd say I think it probably was, and it just happened to have a GPO thing printed on the bottom of it that's wrong.
Question if this scene of mine will stay up, this and not conk out after 15 minutes like we happened last time.
Yeah, now this line always did used to conk out after 15 minutes, didn't it?
Yes.
So we shall see what happens, but it's a bit different now how it's working at this end. It's had a refresh, all the server and that. So it may work, it might not, but we'll have to see how it gets on. I'm just going through the chat and seeing what people are up to in the chat. They're all over the place at the minute. Peter's going to a church service apparently. Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is the first thing I've seen in 2 weeks, by the way. I mean, because I couldn't see you other ones because I was so busy with the railways filming trains early in the morning.
Oh yeah, are you still putting the videos up on YouTube?
Yes.
Right. And tell now you can tell everybody now, Christopher, because if I can speak, you can tell everybody now because they can hear you. What's the YouTube channel address?
My telephone channel is called Christopher 2000 telephone channel. That's the telephone one, and my train channel is called Christopher 2000.
Just Christopher 2000, the train one.
Yes.
Right, brilliant. So if you want to go and see trains and things, that's where to go. Christopher 2000 on YouTube. And,
another thing, telephones do pop up rarely on my Christopher 2000 channel, only if they're thing doing to come from the railways.
Yeah. You have quite a few from the railways, don't you, over there? Quite a lot of British phones on your railways over there.
They're either stamped with an Ericsson number, or they're GEC, or they're made by the Plessy, or what's the other one? Pie Company.
Yeah, I think Plessy and Pie kind of married up at some point. I think one took over the other or something at some point.
No, it was Ericsson and Plessy. What were the two companies?
It was Ericsson and Plessy, was it?
Yes.
And I knew some of the big ones joined up and stuff. So you get all kinds of stuff
because my Signal Post telephone's an Ericsson made phone, but it's got a Plessy sticker over it. And I know that's for the Australian makers. We had it Plessy based over here as well. But I believe what happened, the phones were sent over from Plessy in the UK to here, and then there was the Plessy company that issued the phones off to the railways.
Yeah, all right. Did the railways use other British equipment as well then?
They may use the 746 GEC phones or the 706 clones of the made by Ericsson or GEC.
Yeah. Did they use other things as well as telephones though? Because they famously had the knock-off intercity trains, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was the other thing. They used a bell, so I'm just trying to remember what the code number was. What was the code number? It's similar to the GPO 64D bell, but it was made by the GEC company. I just can't remember the code number.
Right.
Let me just go and grab one. I'll tell you what the code number is, Andy.
Yeah, go and grab one, yeah. While he goes and grabs one, I'll see what everybody else is up to in the chat.
It's got the code number on the base of it, if I got this the right way up. It's got the number C6352, and it's also got another number, C511626.
Those numbers mean absolutely nothing to me, but they're made to somebody. So.
But they're made by GEC because it's got a GEC label on it.
Yeah.
So I picked up 3 of them off eBay the other day from railways, and I've got 2 of them working, and the other one I got to restore the wiring to.
Yeah, excellent.
Because the way they're wired, they don't have the capacitor in the bell set, so I had to add that in to make them work.
Right.
Because our way our phone lines set up over here.
Yeah. Is there anything in them other than a bell, other than sort of coil and a bell? Is it actually just a bell in the box? Hello? Has he gone? I think he might have gone. Has he disappeared? I think he's disappeared. Well, it was brilliant while it worked, wasn't it? But I think he's vanished. So we'll try and see if we can catch up with him again later. How long did it last? That was he on for 15 minutes and it cut out after 15 minutes. We've had a strange thing where some of the CNET calls have been cutting out after 15 minutes, which is a bit bizarre, and we can't quite work out why it does it, but it does do it, so can't figure out quite why. Right, we'll try and catch up with you again, Christopher, at some point, but enjoy your day. Actually, it's the middle of the night there, isn't it? Yeah, it's the middle of the night there still. Enjoy your audio test, and the tram's running in the middle of the night. Certainly don't run in the middle of the night here. They finish about 10 o'clock, half past 10 in Sheffield. Right, what is everybody up to in the chat? I'm just looking. Peter says he was late for church today because he didn't set the clocks last night. Oh, he didn't do the spring forward, fall back thing. Yes, Peter, you're not the only one who didn't do it last night. There have been other people caught out with that today. Of course, it's not gone forward everywhere, because some people don't change their clocks on the same days that we do. Hello, Christopher, you're back.
Yeah, the ATA packed up again. I had to reboot the ATA again.
Right. Did it pack up after 15 minutes, though?
Yes, it did. Well, it was about 15 minutes. Yeah, it packed up again on that time. So I had to reboot the cable to get it working again.
I wonder if it's the ATA or if it's at this end.
I'm not sure. One I might try one day is saving all the phone numbers and passwords and codes I've got on my ATA and rebooting the ATA again, resetting all the thing up again one day.
Yeah, I'll have to get some. When somebody else tries to ring up one of these days, we'll see if theirs cuts out as well.
Yeah, what I was about to mention before it conked out, I was about to tell you what else in the bell. In the bell also there's also the link strap links the 2 bell magnets together, and that's what's in there as well. I was trying to mention what conked out.
Right. So it's just bell and magnets and nothing else in there.
Yeah, and the terminals where you put the phone line.
Yeah. So it's
but
just.
What I've done is added a ring capacitor inside what's smaller to fit into the belt, so I can actually connect it to my line and it will work.
Yeah. It's what the GP over here would call a bell box rather than a bell set.
Yeah, no, it's a metal bell set. It's a metal bell set base, and it's got the metal gongs on it. Not a wooden bell box. This one.
Yeah, but they still just call it a bell.
Yes.
I've not got a similar one kicking around anywhere, but Yeah, I have got one. I know the thing you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a bell. It's not a bell set like you say, and you've got, unless you wire it in tandem with a phone that's got a capacitor in it.
Yeah, these were used mainly on the inside signal box as a louder bell, so you could hear the phone ringing if there was a train on the platform.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have needed a capacitor then, would it? Because you'd wire it across a telephone sort of thing.
Yeah.
You'd wire it across the bell set in an ordinary phone.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not got the capacitor in it.
Yeah, I've done the capacitor so I can wire it by itself on the phone line. Sometimes I don't have a phone connected to the bell to make it work.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the signal boxes I've been in, all the signal boxes I've been in have been about 3 signal boxes. I know these bells are popular around the Australian railway system.
Yeah. Are they still in use then?
I'm not sure if they're in use or not, because I've not heard them ringing. I've seen about 5 or 6 on our railways of this type of bell.
Yeah. Oh.
I can tell you the one definitely at Flinders Street is not hooked up because the cover's missing off the bell, and I think they've disconnected the wiring.
Yeah. Ah. Right. Oh well. At least you've managed to recover one.
No, I've actually got 4.
Oh, crikey! So you preserved 4 of them then.
Yeah, I got them off eBay, and I've got them rewired, and they work.
Excellent. I've got to ask you while you're on.
Yes.
How's the air raid siren?
Good. I did that this New Year's Eve. Just when I did that on the 2021 and 2022. No, wrong. The 2022, the 2023 New Year's Day. I set that siren off.
Yeah. Did you wake? Mind you, I don't suppose anybody was asleep on New Year's Eve, were they?
No. I had it running for about 5 minutes out there out my window, and I had it going all the way around over Melbourne.
Yeah, brilliant.
Before it overheated and tripped my main fuse on my fuse panel.
Oh, crikey! Does it take a lot of amps then?
It takes about 20 amps out of it to power the motor because it's 240 volts, and it overheated my main fuse because it got so hot, the siren.
Blimey.
I think it came from New Zealand actually, because it was painted bright red, like fire red. I think it was used after the war as a fire siren.
Right. Yeah. Warner fires and yeah.
In New Zealand, the siren's not used for warning of fires. It's used to call the firemen back to the station when there's a fire call.
Yeah, we had some. Near me, there was a coking plant, Colite coking plant, and they had. I mean, it's gone now, but until relatively recently, they had one that warned if they had a chemical spillage, because they had a chemical works at the side of it, and if they had a chemical spill, they had this. What I assume was a World War II air raid siren. It certainly sounded like one, and every now and again they'd send a letter through the post. Say, we are testing the siren on such and such a date. Don't panic, it's only a test.
Yeah, that's similar to what I used to have in John when I used to live down in John. I used to have the show where Fun used to do a siren test every Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that gave me a good chance to sound my siren to test if it was working. I wired it, and you set off every time at Tuesday at 9 o'clock when the show did theirs.
Oh, right, so you set them both off together.
Yeah, so I wouldn't disturb anyone in the neighbourhood.
Excellent, brilliant. I like it.
But someone else had that idea as well. Someone else had an old Carter World War II of Mingle. They set theirs off, and Shell set theirs off. Then they set their one off, and I set mine off at the same time.
Do a lot of them survive then over there? Because
we've got one Carter World War II siren from the UK in Shell Refinery. Also, 2 modern ones there at the same. They've got 3 sirens. There's one old World War II one at Belgrave Fire Station number 2. And where's the other one? There's also an old one also at the Upper Furniture Gully at Fire Station as well.
Yes, they don't seem to survive over here. Stuff from World War II over here doesn't generally seem to survive very well. And I think I think what happened, as soon as the war was over, anything that reminded anybody of the war, they wanted rid of it, so they got rid of everything as quick as they could.
Yeah. But that's not the case over in Melbourne. I went through near Burke Street Mall in Melbourne. I found 2 World War II sirens still in place in Melbourne, not in use anymore.
Brilliant. So, maybe they were used in latter years as like a nuclear warning, things like that.
I'm actually not sure if Australia was part of the Cold War. I'm not too sure, but they were definitely from the war because it looked like they were there since the 40s.
Yeah. I can only think of where there's about 2.
Yes.
I can only think of where there's about 2 air raid sounds left where they sort of originally were.
Yes.
And one of those is in bits. Bits have fell off it over the years, and it's just. But there is one in central London near Waterloo Station on the top of a pole that about 10 years ago, at least last time I looked, was definitely still there, and it looked pretty complete. But I don't know if it's maintained or not. But other than that, they've really disappeared.
Actually, I just remembered the Belgrave Station number 2 siren's actually not there anymore. They've replaced it with a modern type of siren. I just remembered. So I went past there the other day. It wasn't there, the Carter siren.
Right. Oh, I wonder where it's gone.
It was very funny. One time I went down to Upper Ferntree to catch their siren going off. When I went down there, got the cameras up in a good position to film the siren. That's when it was about to go off, and I said to this side mechanic, back at 10 o'clock, the siren didn't activate for the test run.
Right.
It didn't go off because the control panel went faulty. It didn't activate for test day.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's what they test for, isn't it? So,
yeah.
See if it works or not, and in that case...
Because I sent a few emails over to the firemen to ask when they do their test day, and I got my baby. I went up there to film it. It didn't go off.
Yeah. We have a thing here. I'm going to go and do a video about it. We have a thing here called... I think they call it the Sheffield Lunchtime Hooter.
Yes.
Which is a siren in the middle of Sheffield city centre.
Yeah.
That goes off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
Every I think it does it every day. Perhaps it only does it Monday to Friday.
Yes.
But you ask people about this, nobody ever seems to have heard it. But it goes off every day, right in the middle of Sheffield city centre. But nobody ever seems to have heard it. It's really peculiar. I am going to go and do a video about it because it's been there for years and years. Certainly pre-World War II, it was there, and it was originally something to do, I believe, with an accurate time signal.
Yes.
Because it was on a jeweller's shop that sold pocket watches.
Yes.
And the idea was you heard this thing go off at 1 o'clock and you could set your pocket watch that you bought from the jewellers. It's still on the jeweller's shop, although the jeweller's shop moved across the road. When they moved across the road, I think they took the siren with them. And it's still there and still goes off at 1 o'clock every day.
Yeah, recently they've actually brought sirens back into Melbourne recently as well, but was activated by the police department for emergency use nowadays.
Right.
But they're nothing like the World War II sirens. They're like a speaker alarm type thing.
Oh, right. What are they thinking they might want to use them for then?
You know, it got me never seen on this. Because a few years ago we had about a terrorist attack in Burke Street Mall where someone drove across the floor knocking people. I think that's what they've done. They put those signs in use in case someone does that type of thing again.
Right. So what are you supposed to do if they go off then?
It's a thing when the siren stands, they'll run into any shop and they lock down the shops until it's all clear outside again.
Right, and they've like publicised this to the public as the thing to do, have they?
Yes, on every intersection in Melbourne, you'll see these two speakers on the pole, and if there's a message, the siren would activate.
Right. We've got nothing like that over here. I mean.
Yeah, because it could be seen on the news where they had this terrorist attack in Burke Street Mall on your news I think about 4 years ago now.
Yeah, well, we had a similar thing over here. They had them all over the place, didn't they? There was a bit of a spate of them, but
Yeah.
there was a guy who sort of ran amok in central London and stuff. Um, in fact, it's happened a couple of times. But as
Yeah,
far
we
as I know,
also.
there's nothing like that in place.
Yeah, we also
Um,
had someone in Virgin also run around with a knife as well a few years ago as well.
yeah, yeah, that happened in London. This guy in London had a knife.
Yeah, and
Um,
the police couldn't stop him either. What's the way some police, but they never stopped him at all either with any
yeah,
weapons of theirs.
yeah. It's interesting though that there is like a public thing where people know when they hear this siren.
Yeah.
There's a kind of drill to follow because we've got nothing like that at all.
Yeah, what I'm
But
actually wondering in my mum when I saw these old World War II stuff, I wonder if they're actually hooked up to the system what we have now. I'm pretty sure they might be hooked up again, actually.
yeah,
They also
ah,
use it, say, if they have like a nuclear attack or something in as well, if they would probably set those off that reason to get people in the underground car parks around Melbourne as well.
yeah, ah. It sounds like they're much more organised in Melbourne than they are here.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you'd probably stand a better chance of surviving if you're in Melbourne than you do if you're in
Yeah,
Britain.
they did set them off once, but that was mainly the test one. But I've not ever heard them once. They don't do tests of them though, of the sirens in Melbourne though.
Right. Oh, I would have thought they would have. I would have thought they would test them every now and again.
Yeah, I've never heard them once. I don't think they actually test them. I did one time when I was in where I am now in South Melbourne. I did hear a mechanical air race run up, down, all the time for at least about 1 minute once one morning.
Yeah.
Just
I
after
want,
yours, just after one of your shows I was watching a few months back. Just when I turned the computer, I had this siren run up and then run down and run up about 6 times.
yeah, I wonder if they do it at like crazy o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I also went on an old train the other day as well.
On a train.
Yeah, an old steam special train with diesel locomotives from Melbourne, using the old Werribee we call Junction to Geelong one last weekend.
Oh yeah, I've seen this railway. I think there's been we have a TV show over here that a guy called Chris Tarrant does, where he goes all over the world on different railways, and he did a thing where he went across Australia, and I think he went on that.
Yeah, the steam rail special does all sorts of lines, but they do it every different week at different locations. It was called, the one I went on was called the Rail and Sail, where you'll either go on a boat or the train, but I choose the train 'cause it's more fun.
Yeah, you can't go one way on the train and then come back on the boat then.
Yeah, you can. You can either go down to Geelong on the boat and then come back on the train, or do it the other way where you go down on the train and back on the boat.
Yeah, excellent.
Or you can do it where you can go down on the train and back on the train as well. I choose just a train run.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Excellent. Excellent. It sounds like you're keeping yourself busy anyway, Christopher. He's gone again. He's done it again. I think we got the gist anyway. It's that's Christopher 2000 there out in sunny Melbourne while we sit here in the twilight in cold and rainy Derbyshire. He's going to try it again. Hang on, let me leave again. Hello, it did it again.
I'm not sure what's going on with this ATA. It just conks out and it hangs up and I have to call the number again.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Yeah, what I was talking about then, I got a good video, about an hour's video where I filmed from Melbourne all the way through to Geelong from the guard's window.
Excellent. Have you put it up? Is it up on YouTube?
Yes.
Cool. We'll have a look. We'll have a look at that one because, like I say, I've seen that railway before. I think you sent me pictures of that railway before as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that railway service. Yeah, where
signal
they do
box
special
and things
trains,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
But it's also it's run by Steam Rail Victoria, but V-Line have to give them permission to run on their network as well. We give them like time slots and all times to run on the line to don't disrupt other services.
Yeah. So, do the sort of private preserved heritage railway tracks and theirs
No, they just
cross over?
No, they locate in Newport in the Newport workshops, and they come out on the metro lines and go to the Southern Cross station. And wherever they go, they have different locations, and you have to book special tickets through their website to go on there.
Right, I'm with you. Yeah.
They have old preserved railway rolling stock locomotives, diesel locomotives, and steam locomotives. Also got preserved electric locomotives, but they don't use them on the main line.
Yeah.
There's actually a story about their old class, like where they were testing it one time and it blew out the substation and shut down the Webby and Williams tunnel. And that story was actually true.
Oops. That was not flavour of the month when that happened.
I think it was back in 2012 they did it, and they had to use V-Line to run the Webby and Williamstown trains. They had no power on the line.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
They've actually done that 3 times actually. So they did it twice with the L class in 2012 and 1998, and I think it was March 2021. They were doing the heritage wooden carriage, and one hit the overhead cable and blew out the substation, and then wrecked the roof of the carriage as well.
Crikey! How did it manage that? Was it high? Was the cable low? Or?
The carriages they have now have like a guard's tower that looks what's higher in the roof of the train. It was going under a bridge where the overhead dips downwards with the bridge height, and because they didn't realise how low the bridge was, the top of that hit the wire and blew the thing up.
Right. So.
And also we used to be able to lean your heads and arms out the windows. Since that incident happened, they've banned the rule of leaning your heads and arms out the window.
Yeah. Yeah, you can sort of see why, can't you?
Yeah, and also they used to allow people to have the doors wide open on the old Red Rattlers in the 90s and 80s. They don't allow people to do that anymore either.
Yeah.
But when I was on the Red Rattlers recently, the doors had a fault where they hit a bump and the doors are flying open by themselves.
Oh, wait a minute, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so every time it opened, you have to grab the handle and slam the door back to the lock position so it stays closed.
Is that the restored one?
Yeah, the electric one I showed you a couple of episodes back.
Yeah. They made a nice job of that, apart from the doors, obviously. But the rest of it, they made a good job of that.
Back before the 90s, the doors would have been wide open all the time without having them closed.
Yeah.
They did restore the doors, and they put the doors in, and they restored the whole thing.
Yeah.
They haven't fixed the problem with the latches on the doors either.
Yeah.
Nor have they oiled up the doors either on the trains. When I was at Leeds, I couldn't even get the door to close.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the doors are very good.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Are they sliders? Are they one-piece sliding doors?
Yeah, they're sliding doors. You have to slide across along. Some of the Red Vans also had swing doors or swing open like the British Rail style cars as well.
Yeah.
But there's none of those carriages surviving in operation because someone set fire to the Newport workshops sheds and burnt all the heritage carriages.
Oh God.
Only one set of the electric trains survived in working order. What they've restored now.
Yeah. Oh,
and it's the last of that train type running in operation on the main line as well, when they run out for heritage charters and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at least they've got one left.
Yes. They're also restoring a double-ended car and another motor car as well.
Brilliant. Excellent. And so all these go out, do they? They go out.
Yeah, they go out selected weekends. They don't do it every weekend. They do it at selected dates. They don't do it all. They do it every now and then on the line.
Yeah. Oh.
But they have to get permission over from the Metro, with our Metropolitan Transport line half, and they also got the resources of being on controls the other half.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like in the UK, they've got one half what's the metropolitan area, and then you got the other half what's like regional. It's like that in the UK as well. They got to get permission from either of the two companies to run on the line.
Yeah. Cool. You're doing a brilliant job for the Melbourne tourist trade. I think there'll be people coming over
Yeah.
to travel on these.
And being like gone really very, very stupid rule nowadays. In the 80s, there's no problem with it. But nowadays, in the rule of the heritage trains must be fitted with an ICE radio to be able to run on the main line. Back in the 80s and 90s and 70s, there's no rule of that. They didn't have to have a radio on board. They just carried handheld radios to talk to the signallers and all that.
No, I was just about to say, can't you just have a handheld radio?
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Surely you must be able to get a handheld version of a modern radio, surely.
You can, because I've actually got a modern scanner that picks up the railroad frequency. I listen to them all the time when I'm out on the railways.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go then. That's all you need, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but they got permanent radios now, and the cabs are fitted permanently, so they have a radio all the time what's working.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh well. At least they're still working. That's the thing. At least they're still running, because it's the worst thing in the world for any kind of heritage vehicle, whether it be a train, a tram, a car, whatever. It's the worst thing in the world for them to just be sat doing nothing. They deteriorate.
The tramways used to be like, they used to run these heritage trams around the Melbourne system right up to 2014. Since 2014, all the heritage trams have been banned from running on the main system, and it's all to do with trolley pole to pantograph conversion as well.
Right. Well,
they converted the overhead in Melbourne to run only with pantographs. That's why these heritage trams can't run, because they've all got trolley poles.
Yeah, well, that's a bit stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when Blackpool over here got refurbished a few years ago, and they started running modern LRVs instead of their heritage trams on the main service, let's call it. They went to great lengths to make sure trolley poles could still run on it. But Blackpool ran pantographs on their heritage fleet. They started experimenting with it, I think, in the 1970s, but from the 80s it really caught on. But they always made sure they could still run trolley poles, because they used to have problems with ice build up on the wires, and the pantographs didn't clear the ice. So they had to run a trolley pole fitted car around in winter to clear the ice off the wire. Otherwise it made a really good insulating layer on the wire, and of course just didn't go anywhere.
And also a funny story about the E-Class trams. Well, when they were building the E-Class trams, they built them to have pantographs and trolley poles on the same tram, right? Because the overhead doesn't do trolley poles anymore. The trolley pole on the E-Class doesn't get used any time on the overhead cable.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen pictures of those. They've got like a pantograph at one end and a trolley pole at the other end, haven't they?
You're probably talking about the red American ones. You're probably talking about.
That's no, I think it's Melbourne.
Oh yeah, might be talking about the old PTC test tram they used to have. It had a trolley pole at one end and the panto at the other end.
It may be. I don't know.
Because there's no pictures showing the trolley poles on an E-Class tram. You can't really see them when you're on ground level of the ground. Only when you're on the pedestrian overbridge you can see the trolley pole quite easily.
Yeah. So, yeah. It seems strange that they can't run them anymore. The big problem that they have is the alignment of the wire, because when they're running trolley poles, you want your wire to be in a straight line.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. They got a zigzag nowadays. Pantographs.
When you're running a pantograph, you ideally don't want it in a straight line. Well, for many years Blackpool left it in a straight line, and it used to wear grooves in the pantographs. But they could replace just a section of the rubbing plate on the pantograph. It was in 3 sections, so it kind of wore a groove down the middle bit, so they could just replace the middle bit. Because the actual rubbing plate, I think, in Blackpool is made of carbon. I think it's actually a carbon block that they bolt on.
Yeah, it's funny when tram drivers go across the insulators with their foot on the throttle, because it makes a big bright arc and flashing on the discs when they go across the crossovers as well.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they shouldn't do. Because
because I've seen that here, and I've actually got a video up on my channel showing that, where the tram's drawed an arc across the insulator.
It's bad driving practice, that is.
Yeah.
You definitely shouldn't do that, because you effectively arc welding the tram to the overhead.
And
when you do that.
My tramway friend did that mistake the other day on W. He was going across the insulator, forgot where he forgot to look on the track where there's markings on it where it says there's insulator. You must shut the power off. Went straight across into the whole tram, jolted to a stop when he went across the insulator.
Did he stop on the insulator?
No, it made the tram lose power to be over a very violent jolt, and when he went back on the power bit, it jolted again when the power reconnected to the pantograph.
Yeah, because you can stop on the insulator, and if you stop on the insulator with a pantograph, that's a big problem, because there's no way of getting off. If you stop on that dead section, there's a bit about a meter long normally.
We have a thing over here called tram squares, where the suburban railway crosses the tramway here, and one of the trams a couple of weeks ago actually stopped dead right in the middle of the tram because it hit the insulator when it was going too slow across the insulator. The driver got stuck on the middle of the insulator in the middle of the railway tracks with the tram. They had to shut down the Glen Waverley line until they moved the tram off the tram square. Yeah,
because he got stuck on the insulated bit of the crossing.
Yeah, because the trams, there's a sign up near the trams that come and says you must throttle your tram up to 40 miles an hour before cutting the power to give enough momentum to get across the two insulators.
Yeah, you see, if they'd still got a trolley pole on the tram,
yes,
you could have swung the trolley pole onto a nearby wire. Even if it didn't actually sit properly on the wire, you could just touched it on a nearby wire.
Yes.
And then drawn a bit of power and got the thing moving. Because I've done that.
Yes.
I've done that.
There used to be a thing here where the tram could be pushed by another tram off the insulator, but they ban that rule nowadays as well on the transport as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't see the tram get stuck on the insulator at the tram set, but my friend who works on the tramways told me, and I was riding his tram a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly common, at least it's over here.
Yeah, I had a go doing a trolley pole the other day on the tramways, but not in Melbourne, on one of the preserved tramways in, which one was it? Ballarat, wasn't it? I think it was Ballarat, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and then I got to the trolley on one of the trams, and the thing is, you got to swing the pole and try and hit the wire, putting the pole back without missing the wire.
Yeah, there's what you need. Did it have a what's the word I'm looking for? Did it have a rope on the trolley pole, or was it a bamboo pole?
It had
a rope.
Yes.
It's much easier with a bamboo pole and a hook on the end.
It had a rope, and it had an old-fashioned wheel on it as well, a spinning wheel on the trolley pole as well, what spins and it runs.
Yeah. Most do. The other option is to have a little what they call a carbon skid. But they tended to be more on trolley buses than on trams. The only tramway that I know used carbon skid was Hong Kong. And I only know that because an ex-manager of Hong Kong City Tramways gave me one. When he lived in the UK and he was moving house, and he was clearing out, and he'd got one of these carbon skids. And it's just
also I had to go doing the Iron Point bar as well on the Ballarat tramways as well.
Oh, there you go. Get you sat on as a tram conductor or even a tram driver. They're
in Melbourne now. They don't have tram conductors anymore. It's all only drivers who work on the tramways now.
They're all one-man operating now, then, are they?
Yes, none of the trams in Melbourne have conductors. It's all ticket machines nowadays.
Right.
You must have
Right.
seen the chaos it caused back in the 90s in Melbourne when they introduced the Met card. They shut down the entire tramway for about 5 months. Had all the trams lined in the streets, blocking the streets up.
Why?
That was because they introduced the Met cards, right, and the government did with the tram conductors. That's what caused the tram strike.
Right, so did they just all walk off the trams wherever they happened to be then and leave on there?
No, they when they introduced the Met card, the tram drivers came back in the middle of the night, but with the manager's permission to move the trams on the depots all in the city and blocking the streets.
Oh,
And
right.
they did a picket line on the trams in the city till the government backed down on the ticket machine system.
Right. Yeah, ticket machines are never a good idea.
But what they did though, they left the W class trams were in service as conductor operated, and the Zs, A's and B's with ticket machines inside them.
Yeah.
Then in the later years, when they got rid of the old W's on the regular service, they turned all the conductors into drivers.
Right. Okay. So they got a few more drivers then. Well, they got a lot more drivers. More or less double the number of drivers probably. Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the only transport now that has conductors is the V line trains. The only thing that has conductors around the Melbourne area.
Yeah. Oh well, we've still got a few here, so we've still got a few things that have conductors or guards on here, but it is getting less. It is getting less, and there are sort of problems with railways and unions and that at the minute who don't want to work on one-man operated trains and stuff like that. And it's all kicking off. Hello, he's gone again. He's gone again. You keep disappearing, Christopher.
Yes.
But right, I think we better get moving anyway, because I'm sort of neglecting my duties here at the minute. But it's nice to talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet someone else calls on the CNET in a minute when I hang up on it. I bet someone else calls on the CNET. I bet.
Depends who's on. We'll see who's on.
I bet Michael T rings you because I can see he's on the chat as well.
Oh, he's on there, is he? He wasn't on earlier, but if he's on there now, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
We'll give somebody else a go then, Christopher, and we'll speak to you soon, mate.
Yeah. One day I had to try if two people can call in at the same time.
Oh, that's a bit technical for me, is that?
Yeah.
I don't know how. I've got no idea. I think we probably can do that, but I've got no idea how. Yeah, we'll see. We'll work on it, but we'll work on this 15-minute thing because that seems to be a strange quirk of it at the minute.
Yeah.
Maybe
if Michael T rings in a minute on the scene on your, maybe I can try calling at the same time. If two people can chat at the same time.
Two people definitely can't at the same time. It definitely won't work as it's set up at the minute. I know it definitely won't. But I think you have to set it to do conference calls.
You know what you might be able to is put a loudspeaker on one of the other CNET phones you got on the windowsill, so that one have a loudspeaker where you can hear people talking, and then have the one what you're using now on the computer to be a second line.
I see what you mean. I think it'd howl round. I think you'd get some feedback on it. I'll have a word with my CNET guru and see what he says. Right, okay. All right, I'm going to let you go, Christopher. Enjoy the rest of your tram radio test.
Yep. I'll be watching your stream all the way through, by the way.
Lovely. Yeah. Keep watching. The chat and that's there anyway. And we'll speak to you again soon, mate.
Yeah, when I hang up here, I'm gonna shut my CNET ATA off to see it, and then try it next week and see if it works properly.
Yeah. I'll try tweaking some things at this end again. Cheers, Christopher. See you soon, mate.
Andy.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
That was Christopher 2000 there in good old Australia, in Melbourne. Crikey. And as we said, if you've never seen the film Malcolm, set on the Melbourne trams. I highly recommend it. It's a very funny film. Right, what has everybody been up to in the chat while I've been doing that? Oh, it's fairly stationary. I think people are listening to what we're saying. Peter says he's going to the later church service. Means was late for the first one. So all is well there. Oh, hang on. The chat has suddenly gone boom, and a load more stuff's appeared at the bottom with it. Where is he? Let's have a look. Yes, hi, they just come in. Peter says, I'm trying to reset the time on my XN120 PABX and I am into the software. Every time I do this I confuse myself. The two options are download and upload. Right. Well, it sounds like you've got to update a file somewhere, which I would say is upload, because you're uploading it into the system. So yeah, Wesley says he thinks it's upload. It says to download will be the current config, which I agree with. Peter says though download says download the current KTS settings to overwrite the active configuration. Upload says upload the active configuration to be used by the KTS. Have you sorted it though, Peter? Oh, and Peter says, Andy, we have the National Emergency Messaging Test to mobile phones next month. Really? We have the National Emergency Messaging Test to mobile phones next month. Does that mean they're going to send everybody a message to their phone saying something like, nuclear war has begun, and then 10 minutes later send, this is a test, don't panic, after people have panicked? Penfold says, Andy, do you have a Teletalk AD8010 used by the Royal Observer Corps in their nuclear bunkers? No, Penfold, I don't. In fact, I can't visualise what it is. It may be that I've seen one and just don't know what it's called, but no, certainly not got one. Miguel said, did you get my comments about CNET? Seems it got lost. I did, Miguel, yes, about saying it seemed a bit complicated to set up, which I can't deny. It is a bit complicated to set up. What you can do though, to get it set up, is you can give your ATA to somebody who is computer literate or more computer literate, and get them to set it up for you, and then bring it home, and I believe it should still work. So if you know somebody who's a bit of a computer guru, you can give them the ATA and say, set this up for me, and then they can set it up for you, and you can bring it in. Then all you have to do is plug it into your router, and then plug a phone into your ATA, and it should work. But the ATA that you've got is a tone dialing only ATA, So you need to either have a pulse to tone converter fitted to your phone, or you need to just do it with a phone that does tones rather than pulses, you know, a more modern phone. Peter says, have folks seen the Adrian Bliss clips on the telephone and Alexander Graham Bell? I haven't, no, but I shall look later, now you've mentioned it. Penfold says, stay with it, Michael, it's only 15 minutes. Penfold says, quick Michael, get dialing. Yeah, go on Michael, get dialing. Peter says, my XN120 has an expansion card in it. Would I be able to connect it to CNET? No idea, because I'm not familiar with the XN120, but I can't see why not. If you can connect it to a normal telephone socket, then you should be able to connect it to CNET, provided that if it's dialing out, it does tone dialing out. So if it does tone dialing out, you can connect it up using any ATA. If it only does pulse dialing out, you'd have to use a Grandstream ATA, because they accept pulse dialing. But most ATAs, and certainly the cheap Linksys ones, don't do pulse dialing. They only do tone. Wesley's correct in what he says. He says you could connect any spare exchange lines to CNET, Peter. That's exactly right, yeah. So if you've got, let's say you've got 2 exchange lines on your PBX, Peter, you could have one that's got your incoming normal phone line on it and one that's got a CNET line on it. Yes, that would work. Should do. Like I say, provided this thing does tone dialing. Peter says it is supposed to have some VoIP card in it. Right. Not sure about that. Have you got a manual or anything for it, Peter? Because that would probably be the thing to tell us what's going on there. Michael says, back in the day, we were scoundrels. We used to overwrite the master boot record. So that's taking out 150 terminals downstairs. Then misuse of computers like 1990 happened. Now we're taking out 500 a day. Says Sun Microsystems hated us. Gambo says, I sent some new pics of my new toy that arrived this morning. Have you, Gambo? Right, we'll have a little look what your new toy is. I will try, says he, to find the pictures. Because we don't quite know what toy it is. Let's see if we can find it. That's a weird thing. Right. Photos have come out a bit big, but I'll do my best to sort of get them on. Right, just bear with me 1 second. Window. There we go. My new toy. Right, this is Gambo's new toy, apparently. So here it is. And it's interesting because it does data. Well, let's have a look for another photo of it. If you look at the little buttons across the top, it's got data or PSTN. Then the next one I think says tele on it. And the next one, auto answer. That is interesting. And then it's got a computer type cable attached to it, so I wonder what that plugged into. And here's all the details of what it is underneath. It is apparently a Daytel telephone, PSTN 4041, is it? BT rented, supplied by British Telecom. The green circle sticker dated 1981, the red sticker dated 1983. Interesting that. Never seen one of those before. I wonder what it's got inside it. But it's got strange things inside it, that. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting thing though, that I've never seen anything quite like that before. It's a bit on the unusual side, that one. It's something a bit different. Well spotted for being something a bit out of the ordinary, that. Because they're not, you know, it's, like I say, it's unusual. The LED's unusual as well, because they did have kind of little knockouts there for lamps, but I've not seen them with little LEDs like that in. But of course you can get the little converter thing, because we took this one out of that American phone last week, if you remember. And that's a very similar thing, but with a silver bezel on it rather than a plastic bezel. But it is a similar thing. So there you go. Cool. It's all good fun. Right. I've got to press the right button now. Michael says that looks in splendid condition, that phone. Yeah, it does. It could well be new old stock, I reckon, that, because it's a very specialist thing, isn't it? So I wonder if it's one that was never issued. It could possibly be one that was never ever issued. That it's a definite possibility, I would say. Wesley says Daytel was the old post office data service, like the private wire killer stream service. Would have cost a fortune back in the day. And Christopher says he's just sent a photo of his railway handset as well. So we will see if we can find that while we're here. Has he? He has indeed. And it is, as he says, it is a 500 series type handset with a weird plug on the end. There you go. That's like the handset off a 500 series phone. If I get my one here again to compare, so you can, if I can hold it the same way round, which is harder than you think actually. No, like that is how it. No, it is on there, isn't it? Right. So there's Christopher's, and there's mine, which is a normal 500 series handset. But it has got the press to talk switch, as he said, and a very oddball plug on the other end. I've got no idea what that is. It's very strange that. Is there another photo of it? Oh, and all the internal bit of it comes apart as well. So all that bit in there is a separate piece. So they've kind of cut it, and then it looks like used the caps to hold that middle bit on when you screw the caps back on. So it's kind of cut the handset by the looks of things. That's odd. Interesting. I haven't seen anything quite like that before. Some very oddball things on this stream tonight. And, yeah, that is a peculiar one. That. Wesley says that phone of Gambo's, it's got a dial label, so it must have seen service, surely. Good point, Wesley. Yeah, very good point. It probably has. And Gambo does confirm the dial label came with it. And he also received a green 700 handset with a black button on the back of the earpiece. We'll send photos of them tomorrow. Michael said, Andy, do you have the mother-in-law earpiece to hand? It's a Wonderful Life, that scene. The mother-in-law earpiece, Michael. Right, that is a very good question. Do I have it to hand? Well, it's not exactly like there, but I may have got it in the car somewhere. Bear with me a minute, I'll just have a little rummage. Amongst my loads and loads of 3D printed model trains. Is it in that one drawer? No. I've seen it somewhere recently, so I know it's somewhere close by. But the question is, where? I've got so much stuff. I need to open a museum. I really do need to open a museum. Right, hang on. I'm still working on it. You're in luck. I have got it. Let me now get myself back where I should be. Yes, I have still got it. Let me get my cameras all set up, and we'll see. Michael T says, on the phone to Sam Wainwright, she prefers him to George. The cheek. What? I think I'm missing something somewhere here, but anyway. I have got the mother-in-law handset. Here it is. Right. This is a 700 series mother-in-law handset, and it's just an ordinary ear cap. Right. Then it has an element in it, but the element's got these things on the back that screw in, these long things, and then it's got this mechanism in here that when you see how that moves, so I think the idea is that when that little weight of the handset on that opens those connections up and cuts you off on your phone call. I think that's the idea of how it works. I've got to get it back together now, haven't I? So So that's the theory of how it works anyway. But yeah, that's the mother-in-law handset. And then it's got what appears to be a special non-standard curly cord on it. With a couple of boot straps so you can sort of tie it in, and a red and a green cable. So that's all it is really, but it's got this switch in it so that when you hang it on your phone it kind of cuts it off like that, and when you lift it up, that spring loader, so it goes in, and then it should be connected in theory. So it's a bit of a strange thing. The wire of those mother-in-law earpieces are a difficult soldering task, says Penfold. Are they? I haven't had to wire one up yet, so I don't entirely know. I'm pressing the wrong button now. Where are we? Hook fits on back on phone and cuts off connection when on hook. Yeah, because it sort of that, and then you just can I do it where you can see it? So if you imagine my fingers are the back of the phone, it sort of fits on there, then the weight of it pulls that out like that. So you cut off, and then you're not cut off, because it just moves that little bit, you see. It's an interesting device, the old mother-in-law handset. Chris has just sent a photo of the V-Line handsets, the things without a speaker element in them. I've shut my email. Where is it? Let's have a little look. Right, so here's the V-Line coach. Oh, hang on, wrong button. Here's the V-Line coach that Chris was talking about. So that is the actual coach. Not dissimilar to a British Rail Mark II, really, that is it. It definitely seems to have got some British Rail Mark II heritage about it, that. Yeah, definitely seems to have. So there's his V-Line coach. What else have we got? Who else has sent something? Oh, this is Gambo's strange handset. Oh God, that's a weird thing as well. Everybody's sending weird stuff today. If anybody can identify what this is, good luck to you. Because I can't. I mean, it's a handset, but it's been modified for something. So what do we think of that? Because I've got absolutely no idea what that's all about, but it has got a sort of black button on the top of it there. There's a better image of it. Right, now how many wires has he got in there? Got a blue and a white that you'd expect. Yeah, and then on the other end it's got a multi-pin plug. Oh, it's a 6-pin DIMM plug by the looks of it. So what is going on there? No idea at all. Can't help you with that one, I'm afraid, Graham. No idea what that is at all. Somebody might know. If you know, either get in the chat, or if you haven't seen it, ring that number up there. But do it quick, because we've got to go in a few minutes time. So get dialing if you want to do it for today, because we are not going to be here for much longer this evening. Alright, I will just have a quick look and see what's happening. So yeah, Christopher says the green handset might be for a CB radio. Ah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, it could be something like that. It certainly doesn't look GPO-ish, that connector on the end of it. But is that? I mean, what's that bit of blue tape on the cord? It's making me wonder if that's the original cord or not on it, or if it's been joined under that blue tape. I don't know. I really don't know. It's an oddball one, that is. I've certainly never seen one like that before. It's a completely new one on me, that. Never seen one before. Right, I think that is probably about as far as we can go for today. It's been an interesting one. Lots of questions posed on that today. But yeah, so if you know anything about any of this odd stuff that we've shown you in these pictures, and you're watching this after the event, please leave a comment on the video. And also, while you're there, remember, hit the like button thing. I'm rubbish at telling people to do that, but yeah, hit the like button thing, and then we get more and more people to watch the streams, hopefully, and more people to take part. But it's been an interesting one today. Thanks to everybody who has indeed taken part. Thanks to Christopher for phoning in and updating us with what's happening in Melbourne on the old tram fleet there. As I say, if you want something to do in the week, go and watch the film. Malcolm, it's called. Yeah, all about the Melbourne trams, all set on the Melbourne tramway. And remember Christopher's YouTube channel as well, Christopher 2000 on YouTube, and he's got a couple of channels on there, one with mainly telephones on, one with mainly railways on. So that's plenty for you to go and view and listen to and that over the next week or so, until we are back here again. We will be here next week in the old run up to Easter. We've got one more week to go. So we will be here next week around about the same time, same place, at 6:30 as usual. And remember, if you want to carry on talking all things telephones, etc., when we're not on air, we do have a website which you will find here. A forum rather, which you will find here. It's gpotelephones.proboards.com. But we do have a website as well, andyshed.copress.net. And if you like what you see here and you fancy becoming a patron, if you're not already, then we're on Patreon as well. It's patreon.com/andyshed. It's as simple as that. But that is about as far as we go for today. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you back here bright and early next week. Oh, right. I'm now going to see what I can find for my supper. So from me for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye for now, everybody. Oh, hang on. Yes, just hang on, because I need to try and go out the way I came in, don't I? Yeah. Need to. The Blake 7 teleport. I wonder if Villa's on the bridge. Villa, can you teleport me out? Villa?